Okay, I just want to start this video by sharing some photographs, and there is a reason for this, and you'll see as the video goes on about why photographs are so important to me as an OCD sufferer. Okay, so I had to think long and hard before making this video because of what I'm going to say really. I'm a OCD sufferer. I have suffered from it since the age of about 8 years old, and in lockdown I was worried that things would get worse. Thankfully they haven't. I've been managing to live with it for all those years, and I just wanted to make a little video about it. So I'm going to stumble through this and say lots of ums and ahs because I don't know quite what to say. I don't like scripting anything. I like just to talk to the camera and show photographs, and that's what I mainly do. So when it started around 7 or 8 years old, I had what they thought was a habit, and I used to lick the tips of my fingers, and I hated them to be dry. I wanted them to be moist all the time. And then I had an obsession about having rabies, because we'd had loads of programs on about rabies and people with frothing mouths. And I remember my mum telling me, or my dad telling me, I think both of them said, about how I used to sit in the corner and just cower in the corner because of the worry of it all. At that time, they just didn't know what was wrong with me. They didn't have a clue, and they took me to the doctors, and the doctors said, you know, nothing really wrong with him, just got to talk to him. And as I grew up through my teen years, it started to get less. So when I was 13 to 16, 17, it actually dropped off. And then in the 1990s, I had a lot of issues and problems, and it came back with a vengeance, and I ended up back in a psychiatric hospital for 6 weeks with some really quite difficult and sinister thoughts. Because what a lot of people don't realise with OCD, just so you know, I'm going to put some pictures up as this goes through, just of photographs that I do. That's why it's actually related to this short video. When I was in hospital, things were really, really bad. I was there for 6 weeks. They treated me correctly, but never actually told me what was wrong with me. And I spoke to a friend of mine who's been a psychiatric nurse for years. In fact, he's just coming up to retirement. And he said back then they didn't like to label people. So I'd actually left the hospital with all the same problems and not coping with it very well, and not knowing what was wrong with me. So I was then able and well enough to get a job, and I started working for Sainsbury's, and I worked for them for quite a few years. And I had some pretty bad spells when I was at Sainsbury's. However, I'd always been a passionate photographer. I've always loved my photography. And at that time, I was loving it even more. Although the problems were there, I personally found the photography, and it's actually looking back at it in retrospect, that it actually helped me. It actually saw me through the difficult time I was going through. This is in the mid 1990s, and I'd go out and I'd listen to music, and it would actually help clear my head, because people don't really understand it's the thought process that you have. It's not constant washing hands. It's not constantly checking the doors locked. It is so detached from that. You have no control over the thoughts that are coming in. They literally just bombard you. And I went out this last week and I took some photographs of my last video. And I was listening to my mobile with some MP3s, and as I flicked through the songs, there were all the type of tracks I was listening to back in the early 90s. And to see myself in a completely different place to when I was there, and to the problems I had then. And I thought, this is amazing. And it was then it suddenly dawned on me that it was the photography that was propping me up and not making me go into a full collapse again and ending up perhaps back in hospital. And I just want to show you just some of the photographs that I took. I've got a few of them, and they're not very good, but you'll see a few shots I took back then when things were not so good. But what I'm trying to say is, if you're a silent OCD sufferer and not one of these people who says, oh, I'm a bit OCD, there's a huge difference between saying, oh, I'm a bit OCD, and actually having a real episode of it. I could only go by my own experience. I've done something that I enjoy that kept me going, and I'm really thankful for that. And I just want to offer the hope to other people that have OCD that you can help yourself, you can overcome it. And I want to continue my life like this, and it was through what I do now with the photography and the documentary making. I think that that's what's helped so much, and it's finding that thing, that little thing in your life to help you overcome and help you move on. And I hope this has helped. I hope this has helped someone who's got OCD and really struggling at the moment. So my thing is photography. Your thing could be anything. And thanks for watching.